Recording and share my screen with everyone. So I want to welcome everyone to the call today. I am going to, let's see. Okay, awesome. Okay, guys, welcome to the call today. I want to make sure, whoops, I'll turn back here. I want to move this here. Okay, so I can't see you guys. So if you are asking questions, I'm not going to be able to see that. Okay, welcome to 5 simple steps to attracting endless high-end clients and creating your dream business. And my name is Heather Picken. I'm not sure if you know who I am or if you've been on my list for a while. I just really want to welcome you to this training call. I'm really here to provide value. So let me just go over what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So some of the things you're going to learn, obviously my 5 secrets to attract, convert, and create a profitable business, making $5,000 to $20,000 of consistent high income. Now, you might be asking, is this online or offline? I teach these strategies for both online and offline. I work with a lot of different businesses. Primarily, I work with a lot of coaches and consultants, but I find that I have a lot of businesses, a lot of different industries that I work with. So if you have questions about your industry, hey, is this going to work for mine? Just let me know and I'll answer those. So before we dive in today, and I do kind of talk really quick sometimes, so just take notes. And again, if you have any questions, make sure that you stay to the very end, because I'm not selling anything on this call, but I am offering something extremely valuable for those that really want to make that consistent high income. And I'm telling you, it is not for everyone, because not everyone has that mindset that they need. We're going to be talking about in order to break through. So you know who you are if you're really hungry for it. You see that you have a vision, but you just don't know how to get there. Maybe you need some clarity on what it is that you do. Maybe you need a plan on what that looks like. So when I'm looking at who this for, it's really for those people that, gosh, there's just so much information. I don't know how to put it all together, or I don't know how to sell my programs or services. Now, who this is not for, if you are limited in your thinking, you're not looking to grow your business, you really want to stay stuck in your story. And that's what brings me to my story. I have found over the years, and I've interviewed and been around some very influential people, in all different types of industries. So billionaires, and I always say go to the top to get your best information. And we get into the story of successful people, of where they broke through, what that breaking point was for people from, they had to start somewhere, so I'm talking about the people that had the struggle, and what was that breaking point to really help them to make consistent income to that next level. I mean, for you in your mind, trying to wrap yourself around $1 billion might seem, like a fantasy. But in order to understand how to break through, we have to really connect to what was that breaking point. And anyone on this call, if honestly, I'm being really honest, if you're not making at least 6 figures in your business, there is a reason why. And I'm going to share some of those steps with you today. Excuse me, before I do that, I'm going to grab a cup of coffee here. And again, I want to go back to the story and really share a little bit about me, who I am, what happened. And I think the story is so important, because a lot of times people look at me and say, wow, Heather, you're so successful. It's so easy for you. And it wasn't. It was a story. It was a story and a struggle. And everything was going wrong in my life. You could say, oh, just, some people have maybe just one area, the money. I had everything going wrong. I had issues with my body. I was overweight. I had relationship issues. Every single freaking relationship I was in was extremely disempowering. I gave my power away to men, and that controlled my money. And so if you're in any of these situations where you feel disempowered in one area, let me tell you, someone or something is going to overpower you. And my mission and purpose is really to help those, and I know we've got men on this call, but really to help women break through that. And a lot of men are struggling too. So I'm not trying to discount you, but I'm just kind of sharing my personal story. So I really had lost everything, um, deeply in debt. So you might be on this call, and I don't know what brought you here today. Maybe it's because you're looking for a different strategy. You're tired of seeing everyone else around you be successful and like, wait a minute, I'm smart. I love what I do. Why am I not there? And so my story is I was deeply in debt, and it was so, it felt very heavy to me. So if anyone that is listening to this training right now, you're in that situation, maybe it's more than 20,000, you don't feel that you can ever get out of it, realize it's temporary, because I'm sharing this story for a reason. I was definitely depressed and stressed. And when I'm not aligned with what's really important to me and how I can help people, I'm thinking back then, everything, of course, was crashing down. And what really helped me is to go through the breakdown before I had to break through. So that was really important. And just to kind of give you the breaking down moment, so I shared I was going through bad relationships and everything changed in one night for me. And I was in a relationship where I knew it was falling apart. And in the middle of the night, at the time, the boyfriend had actually thrown me out, and in the middle of the night. So can you imagine this? Grabbing what you had, putting it in trash bags, grabbing my dog, and sitting there by myself having what I call a holy crap moment. Holy crap, how did I get here? I am a college educated woman. I'm smart. So it had nothing to do with me being smart and attracting all these things. It had everything to do with my limitations, my thinking, and my patterns that were keeping me stuck. And so I had to make a huge decision to have a breakthrough. And if I wanted my business to go a different way, and I was making maybe I had like a couple $100s in my bank account, and my credit cards were maxed out. So you have to kind of see what I was dealing with. And, many entrepreneurs, CEOs, and, some of the most successful people that I've met, that I've interviewed, have shared same and similar stories. And so you might ask yourself the question, what is different between me and those people? The only difference is that they were willing to have the breakthrough. They were willing to really stand in the fire for what they believed in. And it has nothing to do with your education. It has nothing to do with how you were raised. It has everything to do with now in this moment and what you really want in your life. And so my huge breakthrough moment was I was so in the drama of the story. I was in what I call the money drama story, and that kept me broke. It kept me paralyzed. So when I talk to clients all the time that, want to work with me, they have these same stories like, Heather, I want to do this. I don't have the money. And they find the money because they realize if they keep going down this path, they're never going to get unstuck. And so what I want you to really look at, how is my story holding me back? We're going to get to strategy, but this is the biggest piece. How is the story holding me back? There is never going to be a good enough time. I don't care what's going on in your life. There's illness, there's death. I know, it's challenging, but you've got to be able to navigate around that. You've got to be able to deal with challenges. One of my mentors said, being a millionaire, learning lessons to become a millionaire, it's the life challenges that we get that make us strong, in order to get there. So even if your first goal is making six figures and you're whining and crying to your friends or your family, that is not helping you. It's not helping you. And that was me. I was the biggest crybaby of them all. So I would get so triggered with money, and I kept going back into the story. So I am really inspired to tell you about it because I know it all too well, and just know that it is a story. I would call BS on anyone that says they don't have the money to do it, because you got to get true with who you really are. Now, here's what happened. I shifted my energy. I really ignited what I call my money mojo. And I did that because I hired a mentor. And keep in mind, now this is really important, I did not have the freaking money. And I remember with my credit cards, I had about, 6 credit cards, almost all maxed out. And I thought, if I don't do something now, if I don't try to find the money, I'm going to be in this mess. And I remember putting a payment, like one payment on one card, going, oh my gosh, I've got to do this. Now, here's what I didn't do. What I didn't do was say, gosh, I hope this works. If you're doing that, stop. It's not helping you. So what I did is I said, I'm going to do this. I don't need to know the how, but I'm trusting that hiring this person that knows how to get me there is going to help me. And I'm going to do whatever it takes. And so that was a huge breakthrough. That was a defining moment in helping me to break through. And when we look at the story, I mean, there's so many different layers to this story, but what happened after I signed that agreement to work with this coach, and this was more money than I'd never made an entire year. I got a letter from the credit card companies that said, from this credit card company that said, oh, we're going to lower the limit. So that payment I was going to put down wasn't going to go through. Now I want to ask you, would you stop? Or would you say, screw it, I'm going to do it? Be real honest, because this is what it takes in order to have a breakthrough. Do you realize that you are on the cusp of having a breakthrough? You're just not making a decision. And that's what I help my clients with, is to make a decision to stick with it. And once you do, you'll have a breakthrough. It's the problem is that you go so far into the story and you drag other people in. When I'm coaching a client, I don't let them go into their story. I mean, yes, I want to hear your story, but then let me give you a solution. So I'm all about, here's your problem, here's the solution. And so I activated what I call my money mojo, and everyone has it. It's like turning on a light switch by making the decision and really upgrading my sales conversation. So when I was talking to prospective clients, if anyone here is afraid of sales, and you want to create at least, I say at least, a 6-figure business, you've got to master this. The sales conversation is all about mastering yourself. It has nothing to do with the other person. So stop thinking about you and start thinking about helping the other person. The only reason why people get so stuck is that they're thinking more about themselves than the other person. So it is mastering yourself. It's mastering all the things that you're thinking about what the other person will say or is thinking about you. So I got really clear that I needed to master that. And that it really, what I did is I created a way, and I'm going to be talking about this today, on how to create consistent income, because that was huge. And learning how to sell programs and products online. I have a global presence online. I've got clients. I live in Seattle. I have clients all the way, well, I should say to South Africa, to Australia, to New Zealand. This was a dream that I had years ago. I had no idea how I was going to get here, but I made a decision. I made a decision way back then. I was just going to keep doing whatever it takes. And that's why I love being on fire. I love helping other people that have the same fire, but just feel overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. They don't know the steps, and they get caught in their story. So my job is to bring you out of the story and to give you that clear path. What is the step-by-step formula on how to do that? And, what I did was create a system that was duplicatable. And what I mean by that is, once you create a system for yourself in your business or products or service that you're selling, it's so much easier. Why try to recreate things over and over again when you've got a system that you can keep doing? And again, the huge breakthrough moment for me was making a decision that I wanted to become successful, because it was so easy to not be successful, right? And so you're just making a decision. If you're not where you want to be, you're making the decision. And I can drill that in your head 1,000 times, but I really want you to get that. And I will tell you this, fear will kill your cash flow. Every time that you're focusing on fear, doubt, disbelief, worry, it digs a deeper hole inside of you. And you really need to stop freaking out about money, debt. It's limiting your income. So if you're wanting to make at least 5,000 a month of consistent income, you've got to let go of this. Being fearful, it really is not serving you, in a way where you're not being productive. And I see this all the time. I could give anyone here the exact blueprint to make at least six figures in the next, let's say 90 days, maybe a little bit more than that. But if you don't have the mindset piece to really, bridge the gap, you're not going to do it, right? You're going to second guess yourself and you're not going to take action. So just realize that this is the biggest piece that I find really creates limitations for people is the fear. And so that's why I want to talk about step number one. I want to go through all these really quick and then we'll take some questions. So step number one, I call this mind over matter. And what does that mean? I want to talk about how the mind works to keep you stuck. When you have a decision that will help you to grow your business, what happens? You start giving yourself excuses as to why you can't do it. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. It's usually time or money. Anyone saying that on this training, I'm going to call you out on your BS. It has nothing to do with it. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, and you have the time for what you value. So if you're telling yourself that, well, I'd really like to do this, but I don't have the time, that is complete crap. And so you really have to be truthful with yourself. And a better way is, how can I find the time? How can I find the time? So the mind is constantly creating self-sabotage to keep you stuck as to why you can't get to the next level. And so you really need to create that awareness about what you're doing. Am I getting into my money story? Or I should say, is thinking this way limiting my success? Am I making a decision based on where I want to be or where I'm at right now? So most people make their decisions from where they're at right now. And that's why they won't invest in their business, or like, oh, I don't want to put anything else on a credit card because I'm in debt. I want to spend money on Facebook ads or whatever. Just know that'll never get you to the next level of success ever. And it is what really, when we talk about the fear, how it really kills your cash flow, it really limits you. So the mind is always designed to keep you at a set point. In order to push through that, you've got to make decisions that will advance you in your business. And for the most part, they are not comfortable. You've got to be able to embrace both sides of the pain. I say the pain and the pleasure of the entrepreneurial journey. The pain is, yeah, you got to do the work. You've got to do the work. You've got to invest in yourself. The pleasure is really getting the lifestyle, the freedom that you want. But you can't have one or the other. I'm sorry. Anyone that tells you that is living in a fantasy. I'm probably the only person out there that will really give it to you real, and you'll get the results that you want because you understand the process. That, yeah, I've got to put my time and effort in here, and I am going to get the reward. So being able to embrace everything. And so what I find is that people stop so short of their goals because they don't understand how to break through the next level mentally, and they don't have the tools, right? It's not like, oh, let's think a positive thought. That is not going to help you. You've got to learn how to strategize in your mind, how to go to that next level. How can I up level my mind to think a new way where it is going to attract more clients? And so a lot of people don't know how to do this kind of thinking in that way. They just get stuck and they just never go to the next level. So don't make money your excuse. Really come from that place of making those decisions that are going to work for you. And really, how do we identify these specific money blocks? Everyone has them. As you get to, let's say you're making your first six figures, guess what? You're going to have a whole new set of money blocks and challenges. And so for most people, We go back to the story. The story might be, well, I've got to really work hard. Yeah, I believe in putting the time and effort, but the block is, well, if I work really hard, I am not going to get the reward. Okay, so that could be a money block for you, and really understanding where that comes from. So your mind is shaped and developed as a young child. You're taking on other people's values and beliefs. It typically tends to be the parent or whoever's raised you, and the money blocks are coming, from those programs. So it's up to you to really identify what is holding me back. It might be a time issue. Oh, I've got so much stuff going on I've got so much on my plate. I'm a single mom trying to raise my kids. You've got to stop that. That is limiting your success. And then you have to ask yourself, what kind of role model do I want to be for my child, if that's your situation? Um, Things you need to stop doing if you want to make consistent high income every month is delaying your success. And what I mean by that is going back to, I'll do this once I fill in the blank. Well, I'm going to do that once I have the money. I'm going to do that once I have more time. That is a limiting block for you. And the time is now. There's no better time. And I will guarantee every single person that there's always going to be something that shows up. So so the question is, like, how can I really switch this? Well, how you switch this is really being consciously aware of what you're creating. And when I'm working with clients, either one-on-one or in my programs, I developed a system called the Money Mojo meter. And what that is, it's basically whatever you're observing, because what I use is a lot of my background in NLP, hypnotherapy, quantum physics, law of attraction, and really show people how their thoughts, their energy, their beliefs are creating exactly, what is existing in their bank account. So if you're wanting to make more money, this is the secret, guys. This is like the biggest secret, is really looking at your focus. Most of it's going to lack, right? It's not going to consistent high income to where you're making at least, $5,000 or $20,000 or more a month. And really being able to measure that, how my thoughts are really limiting my success, and when you're conscious of it, because whatever you measure grows. And so when I'm having them do this Money Mojo meter, I'm having them track things. And when you start tracking things, you start seeing things that shift not only in your mind, but in your bank account. Because the bottom line is, I can talk about mindset all day, but you want to make more money. And so you've got to be able to track it. And so what I found when working with clients, I've developed this over time, is that when they start moving in the direction that they want, they start making more money, and that their increased activity that they're doing, even if they don't know what form the money's going to show up, their income doubles. So I've had clients where we start tracking all this, all the different kinds of action that they're taking, whether it be networking online or offline, but they start seeing a measurable difference. Now, in the quantum world, if we're putting this into a quantum perspective, anything, like if you're a scientist, let's just say a scientist wants to observe a particle or a waveform. Well, whatever he chooses to observe in that experiment, he's going to collapse that in the wave of potentiality. And what do I mean by that? Don't get confused. It really is whatever you're focusing on, that's what you're going to attract. And so with these experiments, you could call it, you're going to be very masterful at taking your business to the next level, because now you're shifting your awareness. Now, imagine if you focus all day long on your lack and what's not working. And this is what happens to a lot of people. You do one thing, oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it's not successful. And then they stop. However, I'm challenging you. It's mind over matter or mind over money, is that you've got to shift your focus on what you want and start measuring that. tangibly so that you start seeing the results. Now, first you start seeing, no matter where you're at. I mean, I've had people go through my process where in as little as 24 hours, I would probably say less than that, sometimes a couple hours, where they're signing up clients because now their mind is aligned. Now, if you're in a sales conversation and you're focusing on the lack, oh my gosh, I need money, I hope this person signs up, it's not going to happen. So I really want to, we could go so many levels deep into this conversation, but I want to get to the rest of the meat of this talk, and we'll open this up for discussion if you guys have questions. But I really want you to get this. What are you focused on? Whatever gets measured gets improved. So if you're measuring and tracking things, you'll start seeing things shift. And I don't mean just in a tangible way, but I also mean on an inner level. So you've got to be the experiment of your success. I always like to make it a game. Let's make it fun, because when you have fun, the money comes. When you let go, the money flows. So I want to move into a case study of Lori, one of my clients, and she was a struggling coach. She came to me, and with a lot of people, a lot of business owners, they get in their own damn way. And she, what we did is we really identified specific money blocks. Now for her, it was really earning her, or really honing in her own value and worth in what she was charging. That was huge. She had a really hard time with her sales conversation, got really nervous about that. And again, she was making, when I met her, $200 a month. And what she did, so when we went through this process and really owning her value, because when you value yourself, the world will value you. A lot of times people come to me and say, Heather, how much should I charge? I say, you can charge whatever you want. It's what you value. I could take two people that teach the same thing. One charges $100 an hour, the other charges $1,000. What's the difference? The difference is the person has a higher value of themselves. And it's not what the market dictates. So get that out of your head. So with Lori, when we worked through these blocks of really owning her value and worth, we were, or I should say, she was able to raise her rates. I mean, I didn't raise them for her. That's why, when people ask, how much should I charge? We do have to start somewhere. But as you really shift that mindset of what you really feel you're worth, you'll grow your business. And she went from 200 to 8,000 and really was able to do that because, we identified what those blocks were and went through the sales conversation, piece by piece. And that's why it's so important. I don't care what you're selling. You've got to have that nailed down. If I could say anything, that is the number one thing that you need to have. You don't need a fancy website. You don't stop doing all that. That's hiding out if you're working on those things. So you want to focus on the higher income priorities, which is helping other people with your products and services. So I love this post. I know when I got this, she said, you get a big, huge hug. I'm just going to read through this. So she said something like, I'm reading this. She's like, I've finally broken through. I was looking at my numbers, blah, blah, blah. I can honestly say, working with you, I've quadrupled my business. And it keeps getting much better. So I love that. I love that I can help people go from struggling to soaring in their business. And it is really about identifying, if we just go to step one, is identifying those roadblocks that are getting in their own way. And of course, I love that, quadrupling her income. Now let's move on to step number 2. And this is the key to attracting high-end clients. So I know we've got a couple different, I should say many different industries I work with, but what does high-end really mean? Well, it really means working with highly qualified clients that can easily pay your fees. Now in the coaching or consulting or practitioner industry, we really want to get clear on what that is. So in any industry that you are dealing with, you've got to align your message to your mission, and really understanding what's most unique about you. Stop sounding like everyone else and copying everyone else. Find out what's most important to you. Why are you doing what you're doing? If you're able to identify what's most important to you, and that is all about understanding your values and worth, that's where you can really create that message that will attract your ideal paying clients. Do not sound like everyone else. If you don't really look within yourself to find this message, it's just going to come off weird, right? So you really want to take time. So ask yourself the question right now, what is most unique about you? You can ask your friends like, hey, what do you think is really, unique about me? And you might spend some time thinking about what is that? What really makes my clients or customers want to do business with me? And you want to, with step number 2, you want to brand and build your list. If you try to market your business now, I want to talk about this is both online and offline. If you don't have a database or people to market to, don't launch your programs or services. That's just crazy. So in order to build your list, which, was explained to me years ago, it's like your stock and trade, Heather. The more you grow your list, the more money you'll make. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty powerful. And so I learned that very early on, like that was the most important thing. Like I have to build my list. But before I build my list, I really have to know who I am, know what my mission is, right? Know what my values are so that I can align myself to those ideal clients. And so really branding yourself in a way that is, and I'm not talking about fancy website or anything like that. I mean, that comes later, but really what is that message that you can connect with people on a very deep level? So if you're sounding like everyone else and it just feels misaligned, you'll know because you won't be getting clients. So really take the time to think about what can I change right now, what I'm calling myself or what I'm doing and what's most important to me. Because if you can't do this, then it's gonna be hard to build your database or your list. So whether your business is more online, offline, or both, the list is the secret to making high end income. But all these components that I'm sharing are equally as important. But the list, if you have no one to market to, how do you expect to get more clients? And that's the problem that I find people doing. Like they come to me and going, I need more clients. Well, you've got a lead generation problem, right? Whether you're marketing online or offline, you've got to be able to market to more people in order to make more money. And you do that by building up your database. And step number 3 is packaging high-end products. Now, I'm going to be sharing, getting back to the list, I'm going to be sharing a little bit later on how to do that. So just hold tight for a second. So step 3 is packaging high-end products. Here's what you want to do in your programs, in your products, is focus on results, not time. I don't know why people think that they think, well, I've got to include a bunch of time in what I'm offering. I'm talking for those people that are practitioners or coaches. You've got to focus on the results. People pay for results, not time. People pay for results, not time. I can do a 30-minute call with someone, give them the strategy to build their list, they turn around and they're making money. So I don't need to have a 2-hour call with someone. So think about the results. What are the results? What are the benefits that I'm providing? What is the transformation? Not the time. And here's the other thing when we're talking about coaching or consulting, selling group sessions, not single sessions. And that's, I'm going to differentiate that. One-on-one coaching, I think that's great. But when we're talking about like one session at a time, you want people that are committed. So the key into creating consistent high income is get people on a reoccurring income model. So the problem, what happens if you're selling one session at a time, now you have to acquire another client. Do you know the cost of your client? Many people don't. So, and it's a lot of energy. So it's like, oh my gosh, I've got to find another client. I got to do this. And so if you've had the system in place, building your list, then you won't have a problem. But looking at this model, so we want to keep you in that reoccurring income stream. And so here's what I would give you an example. If you're doing one-on-one, so this goes for like a group package, like if you're doing group coaching or one-to-one. But for this example, I want to say one-to-one. It's 5,000 for a 10-month one-on-one private program. Okay, so let's just say 5,000 people, or I'm not 5,000 people, $5,000 for a 10-month program. And I believe my example, this got cut off, but I believe that was 10 people. 10 people, you have to get 10 clients in order to make 50,000. Now you might charge more. Okay, that's just an example of the possibilities, the potential that you can make. This is not hard to do. So a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? Oh, it's so hard. I want to simplify it for you. So if you're doing one session at a time, how can I make this easier? How can I get people in a more committed way, where they're signing up for a longer period of time? Because I will tell you, if you get clients that are committed through a longer period of time, you'll keep them longer and you'll have that consistent income. And let's just say, as you're filling up your programs, your one-on-one, a lot of times people want to do group programs. How do I do that? My suggestion is do one-on-one first, fill that up, group, then raise your rates for your one-on-one. Okay, so then you could double the price. Maybe you're charging $10,000 for 10 months. Then you just doubled your income. So I want you to get in your head that the reoccurring income model is critical. Now, a lot of times people might be scared, well, I've got a massage therapy business, or I don't know how to do that. Anyone can set this up for a reoccurring income model. It's really knowing, the right model to do and then how to sell it. So that's really key. So that's what takes us to step number 4, sales secrets that really get your clients to ask how we can get started. And I know sales is, a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, I hate sales. So here's what I want you to think about in your conversation is asking questions. Do not do this. Do the following is tell someone how wonderful you are. I'm sure you guys are great, but really you've got to be focused more on the person and not yourself. And so be the detective in finding out what's important to them, asking them questions. So I find what happens is a lot of people will talk about how great their product or service is and, oh, I've been doing this for so many years and blah, blah, blah. And it's such a disconnect. Stop doing that. If you're doing it, stop. So you really want to have a process that you can walk people through. And part of that is asking them the right questions. So create a list of questions that you can help people with. By asking those questions, you're kind of guiding them through a step-by-step process. So when I'm working with clients, I help them to get really clear on what this looks like. So having a process, and I guess we're going to go to the next case study. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can save them to the end because I can't really see any questions right now. We'll go to a case study, Denise. She was struggling online for years. So this is what happens with a lot of people, a lot of coaches, authors, speakers, trainers. They've got great products. They are awesome at what they do. They set up a website because they think, okay, that's what I need to do, but they're not selling anything. And it's extremely frustrating. And I get it. It's extremely frustrating. And so she came to me, she's struggling, and she's sick and tired of being stuck. So my ideal clients are sick and tired of being stuck. Whether you have a few clients and you want to get to the next level, right? You're kind of stuck, or you're struggling. Like, I have got to do something different because doing what you're doing now isn't working. So you've got to do something different. And, she really let go of her specific blocks. Everyone has a block. They might have an overwhelmed block. I'm overwhelmed. Every time you say you're overwhelmed about technology, it's just that you don't have a strategy. You need a strategy. You need a plan to help you in order to attract clients. So if you find yourself feeling like you're overwhelmed, either you don't have a good enough strategy or you have no strategy at all. And that's where I find a lot of people that are so brilliant in what they do get into this trap. And what happened, it's funny, as soon as she said, I want to do this, and this is what's happened. So I want you to think about this. If you're making a decision based on where you're at instead of where you want to be, you'll always limit yourself. So she's like, you know what? I know I need to do this. I need to work with you. And I believe it was 24 hours later, after she said yes, she received an email out of the blue. And she was like, oh my gosh, I've got this potential client. I have no idea what to do. And I just sent her an email, like, here's what you do, step one, step two, kind of gave her, here are the questions. So it goes back to asking the person the right questions. Here's the offer that you can offer her. And she got that client. So, it's so simple. So once you have that process that you can duplicate, and that's really important, you could do this all day long. And that's why everyone on this call, if you're not making six figures, there's something wrong. Not wrong with you, but just something that you're not aware of. So it's never about an intelligent level. You don't need more training. You really need a system and a process that can really walk you through, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how I need to build my list. This is what I say when I get in front of a potential client or customer. So I love that when people make the decision that they really based on where they want to be instead of where they're at. So just ask yourself, am I making decisions right now based on my limitations, my perceived limitations that I see? So if you're wanting to go to the next level, you've got to stop that. So now let's talk about step number 5, and this is what I call the marketing money funnel. This is going to help you to attract clients. So a lot of times, like, gosh, where do I get clients? Well, you've got to build what I call your marketing money funnel. Without this piece, it's going to be really hard, especially if you want to create a global presence online. You need this piece. It's so critical. So I'm going to share some of the quickest ways to attract high-end clients, both online and offline. One of the ways is speaking. Now, this could be online and offline. So let's talk about offline real quick. Depending on where someone's at in their business and they need money yesterday, I will probably tell them to focus more on offline and speak. When you speak, what's great about that, it puts you in front of a group of your potential clients that you can actually get even that day or within a week, within 7 days. So looking for all those different speaking opportunities, what you need to do is identify the different groups in your area that would be a good match for you. And just pick up the phone saying, hey, I love learning about your group. I would love to learn more about your group. I would love to, do you offer, or I should say, do you allow outside speakers? So if you have to join the group, invest in yourself. And you get in front of an audience of your ideal clients. That's huge. That's free marketing, essentially. Well, the membership, let's just say the membership's $50, a couple $100. What's the value of your client? And so people don't realize this. For me personally, in business, I mean, I can make in a day what I used to make in a month just by speaking. So do not discount that. I know a lot of people want to jump on the bandwagon and build their online business, which you can, but don't forget the offline strategy. Speaking is powerful. And so make sure that you have a very well thought out presentation that really engages your audience, gets them to think, and then have some kind of call to action. And this is exactly when I'm working with people one-on-one, I help them to get really clear on what that message is and really be authentic. What you don't want to do is get up there and sound like a robot. So it really has to come from within. There's got to be some structure, but you really have to find that message that really aligns with you. And we talked about that. Another strategy is creating an online summit. So we talked about the list building. Now, when I started years ago, here's what I did to quickly make six figures. I got about 24 people. This is ambitious. Like my first thing I wanted to do 24 experts within 24 hours, but I realized that was a bit ridiculous. a bit crazy, and who would want to be there at 3 a.m. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do 24 speakers and have it over, I think it was over a span of a week. So I crammed them all in, some back to back. And I had like maybe a couple hundred people on my list, maybe less than that. And after that, excuse me, after that launched, I think I had like 1,500 people on my list. From that 1,500 people, I turned that into $100,000 just by doing that alone. That technique alone is powerful. And why would you want to do that? Because when you leverage yourself by getting other people, other experts, other speakers, it is free marketing. It is free marketing, guys. This is the biggest thing. And you want to give yourself at least, maybe 2 months if you're new, maybe longer, to really put this all together. This is such a powerful strategy. Do not discount this. This is where the money's at. And from there, it's easier to launch your program. So those people that are just starting, you want high-end, consistent clients, I'm giving you the blueprint on how to do this. Now we're going to go into Facebook ads. You've all heard about them. You might have not had success on how to do it. It can be tricky, but does it work? Absolutely. And so you got to make sure that you have a budget to do it. Now, I'm going to take a sip of coffee here. I'm going to give you, actually, I think I have in this thing. Oh, I'm going to share with you, actually, in one of these slides, a Facebook step-by-step approach on what you need to do if you're just getting started. But I want to share very quickly another case study of a client, Aileen. And she was another brand new coach in her business. And what she did, so she started the offline strategy. So she was networking and speaking. So we went back to speaking. Like, you've got to get out there and speak. Because she liked to do more offline things than online, which is fine. And so we really created a strategy based on what she was most aligned with and inspired to start getting her to make money right away. And so that's what she did. And she landed a paid speaking gig. And so that's another thing you can do is you can make money from speaking. I recommend everyone here do speaking. I train a lot of people on how to speak to get clients, but you can also get paid to speak as well. So that could be another income stream, but primarily you want to do it to get clients. And what happened is she doubled her business, going back to the other example that I gave you about the Money Mojo meter, really tracking. She realized, wow, because I'm out there networking 2 times more than I was before, I'm actually doubling what I'm making. I really want you guys to get that. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. And a lot of times people think, why am I not making the money I want to make? How come I'm not, getting more clients? Well, what are you doing all day? Are you doing things that are high income or low priority or low income? So high priority tasks create higher income. Low priority tasks actually create no income, low income, and make you feel depressed and stressed. And so it goes back to having a plan. When you have a strategy that is well thought out and clear, you feel inspired to take action. You're on what I call fire. You're on fire and you make money. And it's so easy to create that consistent high income when you're doing the steps, but you need a plan. That I cannot say that enough. Part of what is included in your plan, or should be included, is aligning your mind to the vision. And that's really critical. So when I'm working with clients, I help establish routines that will help them align their mind so that they're not freaking out about money and they're making it quickly, because that's the goal. If you start focusing on lack and debt, forget it. Your head's out of the game and you can't be present for people. So you get on those sales calls, or if you're speaking, it's going to show up. People are going to pick up on that energy. Oh, and not to mention, I love this. Another thing that we created, and I love helping people co-create their business. I said, well, what do you want to do? You want to be a celebrity in your own town? She's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want to write for a newspaper? She's like, that'd be awesome. So we really got clear on what that looked like. Now, I really believe when you're clear on what you want, things show up and you take action. You can't sit on the couch and wish for things to happen. You actually have to take action that's aligned. And so the very next day, it was like after our session, she just so happened to go to a networking meeting. And there was a person. Now, this wasn't even planned. I love this part. It wasn't even planned. There was a reporter there from the newspaper. And she had told him what she did and that sort of thing. And they said, we just had so-and-so retire. Would you like to write for our column? And she's like, of course. Not only did she get that, but she also landed a spot on her local TV station. So can you imagine, by having a clear plan and vision and having your mind aligned, how much money you can create in your business and really create, like I say, consistent high income, knowing what you need to do every day, because that's a huge problem. A lot of times people don't have no idea what to do. So then they're spending all day long on just posting random posts on Facebook, right? Not really having a strategic plan. So I really want you guys to get that. And when I said before, what gets measured gets improved. So that's where I have what I call an accelerated master marketing plan that really gives people specific steps. Here's what you need to do. Like, let's create the plan and let's measure it. Because as you start seeing, what you're doing every single day as a result, you'll make more money. It's guaranteed. And so I cannot tell you how important that is. It's just like if you were to go into a restaurant and ask for food and they bring back snails, unless you like snails. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone like snails, but I don't like snails. So if I'm going to go into a restaurant, I'm going to be very clear on what I'm ordering. So this is similar, but we look at this in the context of a marketing plan that includes aligning your mind to your vision. So in that plan, I have the Money Mojo meter to really show people how when their mind is aligned and they're taking action, specific action, that they're going to make more money. The formula is so easy. Knowing, and this is what I say, knowing your money metrics. So how many people do you need to call in order to make $10,000 a month? How many meetings do you have to go to? How many ads do you have to place? When you know that this is golden, it's actually really cool when you can look at, wow, I can get to six figures if I'm doing A, B, and C. And so when you've got the plan, you see things on the way instead of in the way. Most people are seeing things in the way, and that's where they stop. They won't invest in themselves because they don't think that it's even remotely possible. And as I mentioned before, high priority tasks generates high income. So what I have my clients do is, what are the 7 most things that you need to do every day in order to make that income goal? And really have that thought out, because if you're spending time on mindless things, it's just, you're not going to feel good. And then what happens is you get behind on your bills. You start going into what I call your freak out mode, and it will never take you to the higher end income and consistently, because that's the biggest problem is I want to make the high consistent income. I want to share with you a case study really quick about a client, Mary. Now, this is where I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about Facebook ads. So she created a Facebook ad. She spent $300 on Facebook ads. This is what I love about this case study. She attracted a high-end client of $8,000. So I'm going to show you this example of what she did. It was so simple. Actually, not her ad, but actually just how to set up a Facebook ad. But this is the same structure when I'm working with clients, because this is going to be really confusing. And, you might ask, well, should I be doing this now? It depends where you're at in your business. So I'm just kind of giving you a couple of different strategies that I know that absolutely work, to build your business, to grow it to, if your first goal is 5,000, up to 20,000 or more, but you've got to start somewhere. So I know everyone's probably at a different level. So here's the example of the steps that you need to take. So first you need a graphic. Okay. So I'm just giving you one of my examples. Need a nice looking graphic, hire someone to do this, spend the time to get that done. Step 2 is you want to create your Facebook post. You want to log into your Facebook account to set interest to your ideal client. So you want to create your account, put your credit card information in your Facebook account. Find out what is your client like. You want to set those interests. Step 3 is you create the ad and text into the post that you're creating. And then the link, step 4, underneath your ad, you want to put a link. Where do you want them to go? Okay, so you create the link. Step 5 is creating the landing page. And then step 5 is the money funnel. So what is that money funnel? Well, you want to be able to, after they opt in for that Facebook ad that takes them to the landing page, that takes them, into a sequence. So the landing page might be a free gift, a free offer. Then you want to have a sequence with a call to action. So you put them in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is like so simple. It's not hard. And so if you don't have a lot of money to spend on Facebook ads, if you're spending $5 a day, it's going to go slower, but you're still going to get clients, right? And so with this client, she had a budget of $5 a day, but we worked on her messaging, and this is really important. We really helped her to align her message to what she was selling. So I really want to hit home on that. Do not just put a Facebook ad randomly and not know what you're doing. You've got to find out, what does my client really need? And that's, this is really great. This is why you don't need a fancy website. A lot of people are just, they're spending time in the areas that aren't going to bring in the kinds of revenue. So I really want to hit home on that. So my question is, what would that do for you if you were able to generate these results? What would that do for you? And are you ready to make high consistent income? You'd be like, okay, of course, Heather, like that's a silly question. But you know what? I have to ask it. Are you ready? Are you ready to really step through? Are you ready to empower yourself and really say, you know what, I totally deserve this? Because everyone does. Everyone deserves to make the kind of money they want to make, to really create that dream business and help people. You don't go into business just to help people. I mean, yes, you're helping people, but you want to make a profit. Otherwise, create a business and don't charge anyone anything. Okay. So you got to make a profit. It's, and if people are like, well, I don't know, I don't want to charge people or whatever, then this probably isn't for you. And then asking yourself, are you tired of struggling? You've got to get to that point where you're tired of struggling. If you don't, then you probably won't do anything. And here's what I have found is, in order to make high consistent income, you've got to get out of your comfort zone. So what are the decisions are you making or not making that's impacting you and keeping you stuck? So if you're wanting to go to the next level of your business, you've got to make a different decision. Either make a decision and stick with it, or make a different decision. Don't make your decisions based on what happened in the past. That is going to limit you every single time. The decision never feels easy. It's always, you've got to risk believing in yourself in order to go to the next level. And freedom comes when you make that empowered decision of where you want to be. So remember, I said, if you make decisions based on where you're at now, you're never going to get where you want to be. You've got to make decisions in a place of, if I could push a fast forward button on your success, what does that look like? That's where you got to make decisions. And not everybody is willing to do that because they're so damn comfortable being stuck. So I'm challenging you. You've got to do it differently. You've got to be able to make that decision based on what you want, that end result. So here's the deal. I promised you I'm going to see if we have any questions. If you need some help, I know I went over a lot today. That's what I'm here for. I am here to help you guys. And so what I'm doing, I'm not selling anything on this call, But what I've done is I've actually opened some slots in my calendar between tomorrow and Monday. And I've got 10 of those spots open to help you with wherever you're at. And this, I'm really going to help you. I'm going to give you strategy on what I feel you need to be doing based on your business. So if that makes sense to you and you feel like I need some help, I need to get out of my own way, I need someone that can really, kind of see what is keeping me stuck, whether it be the mindset. For most people, honestly, it's the mindset and strategy. Without the strategy, it's impossible to grow your business. You'll just get by, or if you're just still in that struggling mode, it's not going to happen. So that's what I'm going to help you with. And so here's what you need to do. And again, once those sessions are gone, they're gone. So I really highly encourage you to go to sessionwithheather.com. If for some reason that link doesn't work, let me know. I know sometimes my assistant says that it's not working, but I think we checked and it's working. Just go there, click on the link, and we will have a session for, it's about 20 minutes long, but you'll fill out a couple questions and I'll be able to pinpoint to the T. It doesn't take me a long time to figure out here's what you need to do. So I encourage everyone that is interested to go there, sessionwithheather.com. And I'm going to go to see if we have any quick questions here. Just put them in the chat box. If we have any questions, let's see. And I'm hoping I can open up I don't know, sometimes trying to open up the chat box can be challenging here. I don't know why. So we might not be able to do that with, hold on a second. Let's see if we can do that. Let me pause my screen here. Let me see if I can open up the chat. And for some reason, let's see. Yeah, so sometimes with this thing is weird. Sometimes with this, I can't get your question. So let me do this, guys. Here's what I'm going to do. Because for some reason, I cannot get to your questions. So here's what I want you to do. Shoot me an email, heather@heatherpicken.com, for your questions. And I'm going to open it up right now. So I'm going to ask, or I'm going to answer maybe one or two questions. So heather@heatherpicken.com. Let's see. Okay. This is, okay, I'm looking at my email from Marie. Oh, thank you so much. This has been a great call. I'm a little bit confused about Facebook ads. What do you recommend as far as what the ad should say? Okay. Yeah, this is a great question. With the Facebook ads, I would say this. You definitely have to test the ads. So if it's not performing the way that you want, and you can look through the click-through rate and that sort of thing, you've got to change the messaging. So with anything with marketing, it's all about testing. So I would create one ad, keep it short and sweet. I've done a lot of different ads. I've done longer and shorter, just testing out different things. But for your first ad, just keep it short and sweet and really focus on the challenges that people have, and what is it that they want, right? So what is the promise? And then make sure that link the link is really, really important. The link must go to another page where you're going to be able to gather their name and email. Now, why do you want that to happen? Because you want to build your list. I just told you your list is your stock and trade. So you want to make sure that that you do that. Really, really critical. Okay, let me check my email again. Okay, Susan says, great call. Thank you so much, Heather. I know I do have a problem with my mindset. I just can't seem to charge what I'm worth. I loved your example with Lori. Any other recommendations? Well, without really speaking to you, I don't really know what your blocks are. But here's the thing. If you don't have a sales process, number one, make sure that you have a step-by-step process. If you just get on the phone with someone, it's not going to work, right? You got to take them through the process. You've got to be able to ask them questions that really are clarifying questions so that you really understand what it is that they're looking for, and really come from that place of confidence. So I'm working with people. I have a 7-step process that I show them how to create their own sales conversation that converts, so that they get their ideal paying clients. So you really want to make sure that you're confident in that. And here's the thing: start charging what you feel your value is. As you fill that up, then charge more. Okay. So a lot of times people, they just get so in their head about it. Okay. What is the link for the complimentary session? Yeah, that link, again, it's on the screen. I think you guys can see it. It's sessionwithheather.com. So in that session, it's basically a 20-minute strategy session to find out what's going on with you. What is going on with you in your business? What are you having issues with? And what do you need to do? So based on where you're at, do you need to build your list? If so, what specifically do you need to do? So yeah, it's really, really a powerful session. And again, I am opening up my calendar for 10 spots. So make sure that you do that right now. I would just jump on that right now. I think I just paused the screen. And if you have any more questions, again, for some reason, I can't pull up anything on the chat box, but send them to heather@heatherpicken.com. I will have the replay available. I probably will just put it up for about 48 hours. So if you want to go back and listen to it, go ahead. But, here's the tip, the overall theme here. If you're not making at least 6 figures in your business, you're doing something wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. It's asking yourself, do I have a well thought out strategy? Do I have, an effective enough list and able to market my programs? If not, you've got to focus on your list building. Do I have a problem with my sales? So if you've got a good list, database, online or offline, but you're doing, let's say, 20 conversations and no one's saying yes, you've got a sales issue. So that's when we'd have to work on your sales conversation. So everyone, thank you so much for being here today. I'm so glad that those of you that could attend live, other people that are listening to the replay, if those spots are gone, they're gone. But we'll do more trainings in the future. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.